What's poppin', y'all? Meek Mill's back in it. He's back in the news cycle, and it's not for music again, unfortunately, because he has been releasing some really good music in the past year. If you haven't checked out his stuff, you should listen to it, especially if you've liked Meek Mill's music at any point in history. He's dropped something within the past year that's good. But this goes back to his finances, and it all came from this original post that turned into this back and forth that he had with my mixtapes. So I'm gonna play you guys that clip right now.
Jalen Hurts came by.
Oh, really?
But he wanted the house done by July. Not now.
Last July.
He loved the house. He was going to give, at that time, it was $5.2 million. Finished. I said, listen, I'll be honest with you. There's no way I can finish this house.
Oh.
Like in 2 months, impossible.
So that's the gimmick. Buy the house that Jalen Hurts didn't buy.
Then Meek Mill came, but he couldn't get financing.
Meek Mill couldn't give him financing?
They don't.
These
own
guys,
nothing,
they're full of shit.
Yeah, they're full of shit.
Wow. Well, he's friends with Mike Rubin. Mike Rubin could have lent him the money. He's sitting courtside every single time I see him at the Sixers game, so he's got the right friend.
So here, this is a realtor. He's telling this potential buyer, some person that's touring the property, he's talking about, oh yeah, you know, these guys are full of... Now, number one, Meek Mill is not broke. Meek Mill is not close to broke. Meek Mill is... I would say he's one of the rappers that's got more money than you would expect. And you can just tell this by rapper behavior. Like, if rappers are spamming, oh, yo, get your feature right now, there's one of two things. They're on the come up, and you should probably get your feature, to be honest, if they're on the come up. You never know. And number two option is, I don't even know why, but I remember when Famous Dex was selling features for like $1,000, and he was doing the Laka Films music videos, and I was like, dude, this guy's gonna blow up. And I mean, I don't rap, I don't make music, but I was just like, man, I would really buy this feature, because 6 months later, that was a big feature. Also, Puya was another guy that sold features for like $1,000 in the Big Mac. I remember that rate. Anyway. Yeah, so if a major rapper or somebody that was famous is selling features, they're doing weird Telegram links to like promote some odd weed company or something like that. Like, there are certain behaviors that they will exhibit that will let you know, okay, yeah, this rapper's broke, or he's struggling or drowning financially. Meek Mill's not like that. Also, if they're getting dropped by their billionaire friends or the top crew of rappers, then they're falling off or they're broke as well. Meek Mill's ascended past music, which is, to his credit, congratulations to him. He did a very good job. But this starts spreading, and it was my mixtapes that posted this. So Meek Mill responds, and I do think this is a little bit disrespectful. We're going to get into the context of this a little bit more in a second. But Meek Mill says, when my mixtapes post crazy ish about me, I think I helped build that company in my mixtape days. He's talking about his mixtape days, not my mixtapes, the application, in the second part of the sentence. When did the social media page go against me? Literally help build the main stage of my mixtapes. Me, Wayne, Mac Miller, Wiz. Not just me. Why is the rap page trolling us now? And I'm gonna be real, I know this came from a place of hurt, and that's why I kind of feel for Meek Mill in this situation. Like, yes, we make fun of Meek Mill a lot, but you guys know, I was heartbroken when Meek Mill just got washed in that beef, especially after he came out talking about, like, I was telling people to turn off Drake in 2012 because I wanted to listen to Meek Mill instead. That's how serious this was. That's how serious I was about Meek Mill's music, and how a lot of people were. I mean, Meek Mill was fire. So I could see him being hurt by this, and that's why we won't go in on him. Like, yeah, he's dumb. He is. Probably one of the dumbest rappers of all time and the most gullible. But I think he saw this and he's just like, yo, why are you guys spreading this? And this is a really great post, to be honest, because we know Meek, or maybe he thinks people don't know that. Maybe he feels disrespected, because being called broke or considered broke as a rapper is a very soft point. I don't know what it is. It's almost like if somebody's short, and, well, some people are not bothered by it, but if a short person is bothered by it and it's mentioned, that's like a soft point for them. But Meek Mill continues and he says, remember they used to say we shut my mixtapes and Dat Piff site down? I'm just asking, when did the page become a hip-hop troll page? And the thing is, with these types of sites, there wasn't much of a reciprocal relationship going on. These sites ate. And yes, Meek Mill, this guy was making music damn near for free. So he was spending all the money to make the music. These guys got a ton of the money from the ads being placed on their sites and people buying promotions to be placed highly highly for their mixtape. So like, let's say you were an independent artist or a street artist or something like that. You had a bag. Okay, here's 10 bands. Throw us in the front page of the albums or the mixtapes of the day for Dat Piff. And who was driving a lot of the traffic to Dat Piff? It was Lil Wayne. It was Meek Mill. These guys were shutting down the sites. Yeah, Dream Chasers too. Yeah, it shut that thing down. But eventually, like, these sites, they just couldn't survive. The legal reasons, things just changed. And then Meek Mill goes on to say some nonsensical stuff, which is they know they can post and mind control most people. That's why Vlad went viral like that. And he's referring to the tweet where Vlad talked about Jay-Z controls the whole industry, which isn't necessarily wrong, but he just exaggerated it a lot. It's an algorithm to say something bad about certain names because the name holds so much power in the real world. Now, he sounds dumb in the way that he framed this, but this is 100% true. Because if Vlad had just replaced Jay-Z with, let's take a name like, who's really pop, like Kanye West, right? Like if he replaced Jay-Z with Kanye West, everybody would be laughing at the tweet. They would think it's a complete joke and Kanye West is a bigger name globally than Jay-Z. But why is it that they wouldn't take it serious if it's Ye, but they would take it serious if it's Jay? Well, because there's history around Jay's name, his dealings. There's like a shroud of mystery around him. Also questionable things that he has been involved in or people he's been associated with closely have been involved in. So that's why when Vlad put Jay-Z's name there, people are like, huh, okay. And it's also seen as like Jay-Z has institutional power. I mean, like the guy's on the board of Square. Like from Marcy Projects to the board of Square. That is an insane rise. And Meek Mill also has a relationship with Jay-Z. So I think he's kind of going to bat for his mans here. But he's not wrong in this statement whatsoever. Who you talk about in a certain type of headline is going to generate a lot more attention. And then they said they sold the page. The real owners rock with DC heavy. Dream Chasers. That 4-4s. Problem Panda freestyle era around DC4 was crazy. And he says, yeah, I can see that. But example, I helped build a company. Instead of work with me, they put in bad media on me. I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Well, I think they told you what that is, Meek Mill. Is the people that mess with you, they don't own that anymore. They sold the brand. But Academics gets into this and he gives a different response than just assessing whether Meek Mill is broke or not. Because keep in mind, he is not beefing with Meek Mill anymore. If he was beefing with Meek Mill, Academics would be calling him broke, saying these rappers ain't got money, all that other stuff. But he's not beefing with them. So he's going to be a little bit more fair. Honestly, it almost sounds like he's defending Meek Mill. But I'm going to play you guys this first segment of this clip. And I do think that there's more to explore with how the industry is working now.
Up on if he tried to get this property and it didn't work out for whatever reason, I don't think that he should be name dropped. And whether the guys who name dropped him knew it or not, you're shaming him, right? There's many different reasons why someone might not want to buy a property. Also, you can't really speculate because someone couldn't get financing. Like the insinuation of, oh, he can't get financing is the guy is broke. He don't have the money, nor does he have the credit or the assets that someone could lend him money to get it. These things are completely like non-factual, right? You know, again, we're still talking about black men here. Some of these guys, you know, have bad credits. Some of these guys, you know, again, I'm one of those people where, you know, I bought my first car cash because, you know, I think my credit was bad then. I just got in the habit of doing it, but it's not the smartest thing to do because I could be way more cash rich and leverage that for future purchases with credit. Instead, you know, I kind of just do, it's kind of a way how to do shit where you're just buying everything cash, honestly.
I'm in agreement that he shouldn't have mentioned that someone was unable to buy the place, and they were kind of downing him. Now, when Academics gets to talking about like, oh, nah, they're talking about black men here, I don't know if they would have said this about a white guy. That I will be fair, but Jalen Hurts is an NBA player, and the way they talked about him was like, hey, this was my fault that I couldn't get the house done in time, so I missed out on this deal, or it was just not possible, I guess. I missed out on this deal with Jalen Hurts, who is a serious person when it comes to buying, but Meek Mill wasn't serious with buying. And dude, $5.2 million is a lot for a home. We found out that the crib that Dirk was in ATL or in the surrounding Atlanta area was 1.4 million, and that was in a gated community, and that was a nice crib. And 1.4 million is nothing to scoff at for a crib either. But I think this guy did not intend for this clip to go as big as it did, and maybe he just wasn't even paying attention to the camera and thought that this would probably stay in the real estate bubble of content instead of going to the mainstream hip hop and being posted everywhere, because this is kind of like the conversation that you would have off camera. Like someone's like, yeah, you know, this famous guy, he was here and I thought he would have the money for it, but he didn't. But it also does bring me back to the sentiment. If you guys remember, if it was 8 or 9 years ago, Tory Lanez would tweet out and he would talk about, he pulled up to the Nordstrom, or it was either Nordstrom or one of those really expensive department stores where they have the really big brands, the designer brands, Bloomingdale's, maybe one of those in New York City. And he talked about, this person was looking at me in a certain way as if I was going to buy something or not. So I went and spent like $250,000. I spent 250 racks in there. And a lot of us were thinking like, dog, they were thinking that you were going to steal or you weren't going to spend money and they didn't have any respect towards you. So you spent a ton of money with them. Like that's the vibe that I got from this guy, where he's like, this guy couldn't get financing. So like, what's Meek Mill supposed to do? Like come back and be like, no, sir, I can actually buy it in cash. Like, let me drop that money for you, which it would be insane to drop 5Ms, unless you're maybe like some Saudi prince where 5Ms is just a drop in the bucket. But academics continues.
Sell houses, or a developer, if you're working with people that might be playing for the Eagles or these people who are coming from certain communities, you shouldn't even be speaking on that type of thing, which could end up shaming someone. That's how you lose your business. If I was anybody of color, right, I probably wouldn't be going to you to go try to find a house, because now let's say I try to find a house and then you show me a house and it's cost $8 million and you show me another house and it costs $4 million. And I was just like, you know what? I give you the description. You show me this house, it's $8 million, and you show me another house for $4 million. I said, I'm going to go with the 4. You might take that and be like, this broke academics, he couldn't afford $8 million. Like, tapped out, like, bro, I don't want my realtor talking about me like that. What the like, bro, relax. So again, I agree with Meek, honestly, and this is no joke. This is not me trying to be facetious. Like, I actually agree with Meek. I thought this was in poor taste. I thought, they recorded this video hoping that somebody like Meek Mill or culturally wouldn't tap into it. And honestly, and I hate to use this race card, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, that was a video that I won't call it racist, but it was race baiting. Or maybe it is just flat out racist. I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't think they made that video hoping that the culture would see it or a bunch of black people would see it. Number one, if they're selling houses that's cost over $3 million, it's a very finite amount of people that could get it. I think they even make that joke and say that to prospective buyers to say, hey, listen, the little brokey rappers try to get this, but they couldn't afford it.
This is where academics certainly has the right idea in mind. Like, they thought that this wouldn't escape their bubble. And I will say that now we're in this weird time where, for example, like lawyers, doctors, hell, right now, real estate agents, all of these people are in the content market. So they're putting content out there showing homes, and also they're putting personality out there, because that's like the new meta in the business side of things, where it's like, hey, you got to have this personal brand. If you're a realtor and if people like you, they're more likely to buy from you. And the way for people to like you digitally at scale is for you to put out this content, which it is true. However, we run into this thing when you're dealing with people or celebrities. Everyone has the potential to go viral now. And if somebody's name is famous, you have to be cognizant of how their name could potentially be used against them by clippers, because now we're in this clipping economy. So clippers who exist all over the world, some of them are teenagers, some of them are in, really poor countries. So they have the opportunity to make sky high money in comparison to what they would normally earn. So they're scouring the internet constantly for clips where they can earn a ton of money. Now, there's certain programs where they can earn more, like for example, Kick and all this other stuff. But even if they're doing it on a small scale with just like Twitter monetization, they can earn a lot. So a clip like this or a clip involving celebrities and money, they're likely to spread that. But is somebody that's making this type of content going to know that? No, you really got to be terminally online or just someone in the business and know a lot of people to know that this is a thing. Right? So then if you're a celebrity or you're dealing with celebrity clients, you have to kind of think of their PR and you can't just use them for content. Like, oh yeah, this person was buying from me. I'll give you guys a great example. In certain industries, let's say for example, plastic surgery, right? Plastic surgeons like Dr. Miami, everyone knew who Dr. Miami was. However, there were a lot of celebrities that went to Dr. Miami and this is different because it is like there's HIPAA violations, which is like the law where you have to protect the privacy of your clients. So you can't say Kim Kardashian went here. So they have to give you permission to do that or else you're in legal trouble. But we know a ton of celebrities had gone to Dr. Miami, but they didn't want it out there because they wanted to seem like they were still natural and they didn't go through plastic surgery. Not Kendall Jenner. Kylie Jenner was an example of that. They kind of tried to echo this potential theory or just keep conversation around, is she natural, is she not, for a very long time until recently. I think it was a year and a half ago where she posted every surgery that she got. I think it was breast augmentation and a bunch of other things. But that's because it would cause some level of embarrassment of like, oh, she got these procedures done. Same thing with like money in terms of real estate. Like, yo, Meek Mill was looking at this house before you. Yeah, telling somebody that in private is one thing. But a Meek Mill, when he's visiting a real estate agent or he's visiting a lawyer, he's not expecting that lawyer to go and say, oh yeah, I worked with Meek Mill or Meek Mill came to me for a consultation before in private. He's not expecting that. So there has to be some level of, hey, look, we just had this conversation. We just had this showing. Do you mind if I mention you or not? I think that's just going to become a common courtesy as more moments like this happen to surface. Because now, if you're a celebrity, you don't want your business out there in general. So if you're going to hire anybody for services rendered, you're going to probably say like, hey, look, can we keep this private? Because this is another aspect of it too. Him working with you, you're getting paid. So the realtor is getting paid if Meek Mill buys a home from him. But the realtor is also using Meek Mill as a marketing tool to get more attention to his business, which Meek Mill would not be getting paid from. So it's almost like they're paying you to use them as like a testimonial, damn near. And that's like double dipping. So if you're a celebrity or just in general anybody, you're like, yo, chill out with that. I don't want you to benefit off of me more than the business transaction that we had. I'm good off that, unless you're going to give me some kickbacks. If some people say, yo, I saw that video with Meek Mill and now I'm working with you and now I get a percentage of the cut that you're going to get from the crib. And this is something that's been done a lot more in like the online sphere where maybe like popular influencers, they will be used as like marketing material. There were people that were using it, fake AI ads of Joe Rogan. I'm deviating way too much here. But my point is that they will use somebody as like an authority or a celebrity and say like, hey, we've worked with this person when they may not have worked with them in any capacity past a couple of conversations, and then they're using it to build up their business. And I think that is, especially if you didn't get permission from them ahead of time, it's grimy, it's a little bit sleazy, and I don't think that that type of approach is going to work in the long term. I think it worked maybe for like a couple of years before, but now that we're in the clipping age and Meek Mill, for example, he probably got text from his son who showed him this. He's like, yo, I thought like we have like so many houses. What's up with this? And then now the celebrity's like, wait, dude, I went and looked at a house with this guy and this is what he did. And now I'm in this situation where I got to explain myself. And now they're telling all their friends like, yo, don't work with that guy. So that's where we're at right now. And I do see potentially there being laws in place in the near future that protect clients like this, where it's like, yo, if you're filming content as a service provider, you're not allowed to speak on the client unless they sign off on it. But we're going to have to see. Yeah, Meek Mill ain't broke, man. I don't think that this realtor meant for this to go as big as it did, kind of like Academic says. And I think he was just like shooting the ish. But this is one of those conversations where if it's being had off camera, you're like, oh yeah, it's just a normal conversation. But the fact that it can be shown to millions of people makes it worse. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.